Hag Sameach to everyone and happy holidays. We are in the middle of the holiday of Passover, Zeman Hirutenu, and of course in every Hag, every holiday, there is commandment to V'samachta b'Haggecha, that we have to be happy in it. We read in the Haggadah that חייב האדם להראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים, שנאמר והגדת לבך ביומם ולאמור, that the translation is that every person should act and behave like if he himself got out of Egypt. Because the pasuk said that you shall tell your children ביום ולאמור that Hashem took us out of Egypt. Now the Hafez Chaim asked that the Hayab Adam le'arot et atzmo, that he should show himself that he got out of Egypt. He asked that the truth is, where did the Torah obligated us to act like if we got out of Egypt? The obligation is to tell our children. We do know that the Haggadah means telling is the main mitzvah of the main mitzvah of the Pesach. So the answer is that if you are serious about telling your children what the story, you have to live it yourself, and otherwise it won't be honest and effective telling. Also, there is another story about the Hafez Chaim, that somebody had a baby boy. And when he became 1 month old, he came to the Hafez Chaim, he asked him, when should I start teaching my children and educate him? He told him 20 years ago. So he asked him, what do you mean? He told him that if you are going to give him effective education, you have first to educate yourself. You have to practice what you preach before you teach him. And how true is this statement is, we see it in both the secular world as well as in the spiritual world. We, like for example, and it is self-evident, it doesn't need really explanation. In the secular world, we see that probably the best example is the Israeli military, Tzahal, that we, in every campaign and in every operation and battle, we see that there is disproportionate amount of officers who fell than regular compared to the regular soldier than any other army in the world, because they are always in the front. They don't tell their soldiers go ahead and attack and charge, while they are sitting observing the field from the hilltop. They are there with them in the trenches, and I believe this is how Hashem is giving them victory, because they are teaching by example. They are giving dugma ishit. In the history, also in the secular history, we see Alexander the Great. He invaded almost the entire old world. Why? Because he was always in front of his soldiers, even though he was emperor of one of the biggest empires in that world. He was always in the front. And they say, and no one is true for sure, that he died at the age of 37 because he fell in one of the campaign in Afghanistan. He reached from Greece to Afghanistan. So if without that, if he's not in front of them, it will be a joke if you tell them go charge and report back to me. It's not as effective. In every day's work, like for example, everyone of us has business, or he is boss, he can serve as an example to others. How would you feel that the boss tells you that you have to come on time, but he shows an hour later? Everyone will realize quickly that is not serious, or that we have to save money, and he cuts staff while he buys furniture for his executive suite that is very expensive. And in fact, this is true that they say that the chief executive officer of Merrill Lynch, that went defunct now, or it was bought out by Bank of America, his name was Stan O'Neill, that when the debacle started, he started to trim costs by letting people go home. In the meantime, he bought furniture worth of $1 million that the shareholders paid for his executive suite. You can tell that it's not serious. He's not serious. How many times they say you can't use personal calls or go on the computer for personal purpose, while you see the boss, a lady boss, she's buying shoes online. It doesn't drive in. This is not the way to educate. The way to educate is you have to be by example. In the spiritual world, we have a million examples that this is the way. This is the only way really to teach and to educate others. We start from Yitzhak Abinu. Yitzhak Abinu, we do know that he agreed to have himself korban, to be an offering to Hashem, to be sacrificed by his own father. Remember that he was at that time 37 years old, and his father was 137 years old. He's 37 years old, much stronger person than 107. He can tell him, he could have told his father, are you crazy? You lost your mind? Are you senile? I'm not going to do that. No, he didn't. He was more than willing to have himself offered. Why? Because his father did the same thing long time ago when Nimrod threw him in the fire. He saw throughout his life, he's 37 years old, that the most important thing that for Abraham is to do the will of Hashem with enthusiasm, with love. We do know that Abraham and Yitzhak, at least in the Torah, there was not a lot of documented communication with each other, except that and Abraham answered him, Elohim beni, and this is the only communication. But so we can tell from here that even though there is not at least documented communication between them, but Yitzhak saw firsthand how Abraham treated everyone, how he served Hashem, how he entreated Hashem on behalf of Sodom and Amorah, how wonderful of a person is. He learned that and he applied it. It doesn't need too much to learn. The Torah in Shema Israel, this is that we have to do it at least twice a day. והיו הדברים האלה שנוכחים מסביבך יום עד לבביך ושננתם לבניך. That my Torah and my mitzvot, they have to be in your heart, and then only after that you have to teach them to your children. If they are not on your heart, you really can't. The education, the drilling in the children is not going to be effective. And also in Vayam Shamoah, the Torah will tell you is giving us an example that you have to teach them to your children how, by you yourself, that you have to talk the Dvrei Torah every time. They have to be part and parcel of your life. When you get up and when you lie down, when you stand, when you walk, everywhere. Only when you do that, the children will learn. There is Gemara. It says that Haragil bener Shabbat havan le bnei Talmidei Chachamim. That the one who is careful with Ner Shabbat, he will have children who are Talmidei Chachamim. The question is, what's the connection between Ner Shabbat and the Talmidei Chachamim? One of the beautiful explanation is that Hazael ben Shabbat means that he makes sure that there is Ner Shabbat lit by his wife on Friday night, on Leil Shabbat, And then he used this light to study Torah at night when his children will wake up or they know that they went to bed while their father is studying Torah, or they see him in the early morning hours, they woke up for some reason and he's studying Torah under near Shabbat, they realize how important Shabbat to him, and they will be Talmidei Chachamim. That is the meaning of Haragil B'Ner Shabbat. They say also about in almost present day life that Rabbi Aaron Kotler, he established the yeshiva of Lakewood, the great yeshiva, that they ask how come he became that successful. He was in Lita in Lithuania during the war, and then he came to the United States, and this is one of the biggest yeshiva in the world. That how come Hashem gave him success in his endeavor? He said that he relates that to his father. His father used to be a trader in leather, and at one point between the two wars, between the depression that affected the entire world, there was a very difficult economic situation, and his father had a custom that every day 2 hours after Shahrit, he used to study Torah no matter what, and then he will go to his work. And one time, and when the situation was extremely tough, Mrs. Cutler came to her husband, the father of Rabbi Cutler, told him that there is big businessman from some place in Europe that he wants to buy, and he's in a hurry. His answer was, if Hashem wants me to make the sale, I'm going to make it, and it will be done after I finish my studying. If he wants to wait another hour until I finish my study, that will be fine. If he doesn't want to study, that's also fine. Clearly, this attitude he said that it did affect him. He saw how much the Torah was dear to his father, and he went in that path. So we can hear from C that it is futile to tell to be a leader without being an example. To lead by example, it's the only way to lead, and the only way for people to know that what is value to you and what is dear to you, and for them to continue. They say that na'eh doresh v'na'eh mekayem, that the good person he talks well and he fulfill what he talks about. If a rabbi or any speaker who does not fulfill what he teaches, it is not na'eh mekayem. The word that they come out of the heart, that they are sincere, they will go and they will come to the heart. They will be listened. They will be followed. This is a prerequisite. They report that Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, alav shalom, who was Gdol Ador in the United States, he passed away in 1986. He asked the question that in the previous generation, in the early century, a lot of people came to the United States from Russia and Eastern Europe, and many of them did fulfill the Torah, the mitzvot, and they tried very, very hard to not to work on Shabbat. However, their children, they lost it all, and they asked him how come. He told them that it is true that many of them did not work on Shabbat, and many of them did have 52 jobs in 52 weeks. In fact, they used to tell each other that I got fired on Monday morning because I didn't report to work. So they need somebody, you go there, you work from Monday until Friday afternoon, and then you don't show up on Shabbat, you get fired, and somebody else will take your place. That was what is circulating in New York area, on the Lower East Side. So they asked him, how come their children lost it? He said that those parents, when they lost their job, they didn't say that Baruch Hashem, that because of Shabbat, because we are doing the mitzvot of Hashem, that we lost our job and we are fine. No, they were complaining that, see, we can't make it. It is because of Shabbat. It is a big burden. Their children realize that it is indeed a burden for them. And then they said that, you know what, we don't need to do that. And they lost it all for a generation or two until there was a revival, because anything good does not get wasted ever. And it can show up with skipping generation, and that's why we have. So the bottom line is that leading by example is the only one. To give dugma ishit, personal example, is the most important one. And to show that when we do things, we do it with enthusiasm. That's extremely important. So I hope that we take that into heart. Tomorrow we have Sheva'i Shel Pesach. It is the ultimate, the apex of our salvation. That's when we finish, at least physically, from our enemies, the Egyptians, and that we are step closer to receive the Torah. So we Hag Sameach, Tezkul Shanim Rabot, and Shabbat Shalom.